Welcome to Real Estate in the Lowcountry. With me today are Glenda and Lonny Satterly, and they are, of course, with the Joan Kelly team, and we're so glad to have you back.
Thank you.
It's been a little while since we've seen you, but it's always good to see you. So we have a lot to talk about today, as always, because it's a busy, busy market.
It is.
And we today are going to talk about it from the buyer's perspective a little bit. And obviously, in today's market, they need to be ready,
yes,
and they need to be really ready to pull that trigger when they find something that they want. So what is the conversation that you have starting with somebody who says, okay, I really am ready? What is the first thing you talk about?
Well, we have clients across the country. So whether they're from New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, we have New Zealand, Japan, doesn't matter.
Wow.
You need to be pre-approved and be ready to go. Of course, you can use whatever lender that you would like, but we definitely encourage a local lender just because they understand that there are transfer fees here. There's property owner association fees, there's regime fees, there's initiation fees. So all sorts of things that make us unique in this market. The other thing is very important is to educate them on our market because it does differ from where they are.
Right.
And it can differ not only from Hilton Head to Bluffton, but also neighborhood to neighborhood, and then we can even get down to the street. So a lot of education.
Yeah, absolutely. And so something else we're seeing though in this market is multiple offers, right? So how are you helping to, helping them to put their best foot forward so that they might actually have their offer accepted in a multiple offer situation?
So we educate and talk to them before they get here. As Glenda was saying, have a local lender if at all possible. If you're paying cash, then that makes it better. But we go over the contract with them and say, okay, most of the listings are going to say no appraisal contingency. If there's an appraisal shortfall, then the buyer will make that up. A lot of listings will say property sold as is.
Right.
We're seeing a little bit of a trend more towards being able to go ahead and get a home inspection, but we tell them, the certain things that seller's responsible for. We want the seller to know that we're not going to nitpick them. Sometimes we'll put a limit on the cost of the repairs. And then we'll also have our buyer, you need to know your earnest money. Don't forget your checkbook. And,
Right.
If you're familiar with wiring, please have that set up on the back end. So a lot of banks want you to be in person to do that, but if you're gonna have it from a separate account, have your money guy be able to be ready to
He needs to be ready to go too.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And be ready to move your money or have it moved before you get here.
And let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned cash buyers as opposed to somebody who's financing. Are you still seeing a lot of cash buyers now?
We do, and I think a lot of that has to do with the market and the seller is sold, and so their equity allowed them to have a little bit more cash in their pocket.
Right.
But it becomes neutral, really. So.
Okay. Well, and how does it become neutral? Because I think sometimes, if it's a seller that may be saying, oh, this cash offer is really great, but how is it that you can structure one that's maybe financed that looks just as good or is even better?
So a lot of lenders will say they're not just pre-qualified, they're pre-approved. And so if you can get a larger percentage of the purchase price as a down payment in cash, a lot of times the appraisal won't matter anyway. A lender may or may not do an appraisal. And so the buyer is doing financing and we say, we will make up the appraisal shortfall. Then that puts them in a good position and makes it comparable to cash. Of course, it's not going to be 100%. We used to say the buyer is choosing to do financing because the rates are so low, money's almost free. Well, money's not free anymore,
right.
And it's over 5% typically, but rates are still good. When I got out of college, they were around 15-17%. So we're really going to complain
right,
about
I know.
5%.
It's all relative, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
for
Right.
sure. Well, so got about 30 seconds left here. In the off chance that maybe their offer doesn't get accepted, how do you help them navigate maybe to the next one, or have set those expectations of what they can see?
Well, a lot of times buyers will learn a whole lot by that first one that didn't quite work out.
Right.
We just tell them to be patient, get ready again. What can we do to tweak the terms? A lot of times it's terms versus the amount sometimes. We just got an offer accepted and we weren't the highest money offer, we had better terms.
Gotcha.
So it's a lot of education and sometimes it's painful, but we can help do that.
Yeah, you're there to hold their hands, and you guys
Exactly.
are the experts. So,
Yes.
thank you so much for being here today. It was good to see you.
Pleasure.
you.
Thank you.